Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today, for the Walking Dead television series Season 7. Leading into the finale, this one will be a comic book spoiler discussion for the TV series and how it's being adapted. So spoiler warning if you don't want to know any details from the comics and how they might be adapted into the show. Let's get started with discussing Sasha's fate and what might happen after. And spoiler warning for this one, if you guys don't want to know anything about, this topic, this is going to be focusing on Sasha, her possible fate based on the Walking Dead comic book series. So it is kind of spoilery in that, of course, all of the Walking Dead is based on the events of the comics in some way. A lot of times it's remixed or it's switched around. It looks like in the TV series. Most likely we're going to see Sasha be a remix, it looks like, of Holly, who's right here below Rick shooting for the cover of the Volume 20 of The Walking Dead All Out War Part 1. So this is getting into All Out War, and what we're seeing happen with Sasha right now is kind of part of All Out War in a way. So this question came from Sauce Goose, who says, "Hey Trev, a ton of my friends watch your channel, and we badly want an answer from you. At this point, we pretty much know Sasha is going to die because she has the Holly storyline from the comics." So I'll stop you there, and then I'll read the rest. We don't know for sure, but it's looking like it's probably going to be because the start of Sasha getting captured and what happened with that is very similar to the comic book series, what happened with Holly. And of course, Holly was with Abraham too, so it certainly looks like it. Is it possible they could throw us through some kind of a loop and have us think that and then go another direction? Yeah, it is, but everything is just looking like that's what's going to happen. And by the way, if you don't want to know anything about this or you want to stay out of the spoilers for this one, check out one of the other videos on the channel. You can watch one of those instead. We did lots this week, more than 10 in the last week, so there's lots to watch if you don't want to hear this information about the comics and Sasha's fate, and then after her fate, which I kind of like that. Everyone at my school is wondering when Sasha is brought back to Alexandria as a zombie, who do you think Sasha will bite? Let me know what you think. So let's get into some of the details of this. So we're still in March to War. We still haven't finished all of this yet, but we are seeing some of the events of All Out War. So we're seeing a remixing already of the events in the series and kind of the order at which they're kind of taking place. We haven't seen everything. We haven't seen, for example, a second lineup, which I think is actually a pretty important moment. Like right here, for example, this is in March to War. This is a lineup near Alexandria here, so you can see that there where everybody's in a line, and actually you've got Holly there, and you've got Rick, and so there are some events in this volume, March to War, that we haven't seen 100% yet, but we've seen a good number of them. It's just that there's one confrontation, this one, Blam, where you got Rick and he goes to shoot Negan, and it's pretty cool anyway, really exciting. So I'm thinking that's probably what we will see for this season finale, is something like that, because it does have earlier on the part with Spencer, which we got to see at the mid-season finale. So holy shit, they filled the hell out of the season. They added a lot of stuff, and they didn't cover this all this stuff from the comics. So now they're kind of skipping around a bit. We see that, but we haven't, for example, seen the speech from Negan right here, where he talks about being the big swinging dick of this world. It's just a pretty sweet speech. His words, not mine. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm thinking that's probably how the season's going to end. But that's March to War, and we're kind of getting ahead of that a little bit with some of the events here with Sasha being captured in Holly's place. So in the comic book series version, Holly, there's an attempted rape on Holly from David, who's also kind of the creeper that's kind of been talking to Enid in a weird kind of predatory or pedo way. Which is weird. So David in the comics is also the name of the savior who tries to rape Holly. So we'll see if that's switched and maybe David tries to rape Sasha. That would be a great scene to see in this finale or the next couple episodes. You see him, he attacks her, and Negan catches him. And Negan says, "What the effing F are you doing here?" And then Negan basically kills him. Rhetorical question. He says, is he trying to rape her? And then he kills him. And then he says, "We're not monsters," as David's like lying there dead. And Holly's like, like that. So that would be a really cool part to see adapted for Sasha if they do that this weekend or, in the finale. Either way, that's going to be really exciting. But afterwards, so you're talking about after that, which it's hard to get that many steps ahead because we don't know if all these things are going to happen the way they did in the comics. But what ends up happening afterwards is kind of a shock to us, and this is major spoilers. So Negan does decide to actually kill Holly, and then he brings her to Alexandria with him in sort of an attack and kind of hands her over in a way that we actually saw in Fear the Walking Dead, which is where Jesse McCartney's character was her head was covered with a knapsack, a bag, and like a kidnapped victim or something like that, and hands tied behind her back. And basically, he was released on what was his name in Fear the Walking Dead? Geez, I don't even remember now. But the same type of thing happens in the Connor is his name in Fear the Walking Dead, Connor. So in The Walking Dead, in the comic book series, you see that where Negan kind of releases Zombie Holly. They take the burlap sack off, and they find that she's dead. She's a zombie. She attacks and she bites Denise in the comic version. So Denise, of course, in the TV series version, has already been killed, and also Heath gets hurt. This obviously can't happen because Heath is not around in this way. And we got some cool stuff with grenades and stuff like that coming up. So this is a big part of All Out War. It's one of the biggest original or one of the first big battles in it. And of course, there's All Out War Part 2 as well. So there's more that happens after that, but it's huge. So whether or not we're going to see Sasha's Fate actually this finale, we may not even. I was thinking we probably would, and maybe they would remix it and kind of put this part with her, somehow work that into the story, because we'll have to see how it all goes in episode 15 and then how much they cover in the episode and a half, which is episode 16, because it is extended. But his question here, I just want to give you context around his question so it makes sense, is if Sasha is Holly, if Sasha is the TV series version of Holly, so to speak, who is she going to bite? Because in the comic book series, she bites Denise, and of course, Denise isn't there. So that all takes place at Alexandria. So it could be, really, it could be almost anybody from our group that probably isn't one of our key A-listers, I'd say. If you've seen my Death Predictions videos, that I think that, characters like Michonne, Carl, Rick, they're all safe. But there's some others as well there, too. Like Tobin maybe could be the one to get his leg blown off or something. We could see something like that, because in the comic book series, Tobin's not even alive. There's a lot of other characters in there, there's Eric, of course, Gabriel, and a lot of the other Alexandria survivors in and around there. So really, there's no telling of who it's going to be that Sasha would end up biting. Could they do somebody like Rosita? Well, I guess they could, but it's kind of like, because we're seeing a major death from Sasha, I kind of doubt it's going to be one of our A-list characters. It might be like a B or C lister, but there's really no way to tell. I would say there's just no way. I have to sit there and think about it for a while and see, but one of our kind of B or C list survivors that are at Alexandria at that time. And again, they could even remix the locations. It might not even be Alexandria. So it's a few steps out to see. Of course, I'll do the weekly predictions video after we see episode 15. I'll let you know what I think Sauce and who might be in the vicinity when we see the trade, if they show us that in the promo, which would make this to be a pretty incredible season finale. And then at least they would get somewhat into All Out War, even without even finishing all of this. So they might kind of combine the events of Negan coming to visit and then Rick attacking in a second lineup, and then maybe have Ezekiel the Kingdom or somebody save them, or the Junkyard Group save them with the Sasha incident. So maybe the next visit will kind of be an amalgamation of both of those visits in one. So we'll have to see how that goes. And I'm excited to see in the finale, where is the location even going to be? Is it going to be Rick and the others attacking the sanctuary, or is it going to be Negan coming to visit? It's pretty tricky to say for sure. So the way I envisioned it was, I was thinking it might be at the sanctuary, because we've already seen Negan come to Alexandria before and all that, and the Spencer stuff, and kind of Simon come back. So we'll have to see how it all goes down in the TV series. Obviously, it's quite a bit different for this part, because they've added in a lot of groups. You have Simon, he's got his own savior group. You've got the Junkyard Group. You've got Oceanside. You've got the Kingdom that isn't right away, to join up with the others and fight. And then there's a savior group that comes and visits them. All of this stuff is added in. All that stuff is not in the comics, so it's pretty hard to predict who it's going to be. But you guys can write your comments below on who you think it might be that Sasha might bite if she ends up being killed and ends up kind of being traded over in a similar fashion to what we saw in Fear the Walking Dead. It's a great question, though, Sauce. And, of course, when we get closer, we'll retouch on it when we get closer to starting to see those things come into play, because, of course, we only have 2 episodes left right now, and we got the Oceanside, we got all this other stuff coming. That'd be episode 15. It'll be tricky to see if that's how they finish the season off with Sasha in episode 16. It certainly would be a good finale death and would make sense and make it a really exciting finale, though, definitely. Since that one was kind of loaded, and this is kind of a spoilery one, we'll just do a few more questions for today, and then we'll save the rest for tomorrow, and of course, Sunday. Dynamo HD says, I think Eugene is more afraid of what will happen if he tries to escape rather than being a traitor from the group. And for Dynamo, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's more afraid of Negan, right, than he is of anybody else. And his life is actually not that bad at the Sanctuary. You know, his life, it's not terrible. He gets to do what he wants. He gets to tell people what to do. He's never really had that before. He's never really been in charge and been in a power position. So for him, this is kind of like, he's kind of seizing the opportunity. And like Rosita said, he's got a pretty good angle going. So things are not that bad for him. It's not like he's in a cell like, Daryl was or Sasha is going to be. So, yeah, I mean, things are not too bad for him right now. David Gutierrez says, I probably butchered the last name. Sorry, Dave, if I did. Trev, Jesus just officially revealed he is gay. Do you think that he'll be able to meet a special someone? So eventually I would think he would, and we'll probably see some, romance scenes, lovey-dovey kind of stuff in the TV series. We've already got Aaron and Eric, but... they could do another one with Jesus and somebody else. And I like Jesus a lot. He's a really cool character, really fun, really nice character, really nice guy type of character. He's like a classic good guy type character. So he's, he's fun to see. And, of course, we've seen them kind of put one foot in the right direction for him to have a love interest. And I'm sure we'll see one eventually, but it might be a couple years until we get there. Deb Sie says, Trev Q&A, do you like the relationship between Rick and Michonne better than the comic book relationship between Rick and Andrea? And that's a great, really, really good question from Deb Sie. So I would say I do like the television series version better of this, which I usually do because I feel like, and that's kind of a subjective thing to me. When I read the comics, it's a different medium, and when it comes to emotion, the TV series has been able to evoke emotion from me better than the comic book series version did. The comic book series version has some of the most darkest things I've ever seen, and like some of the craziest things I've ever read in a comic, like Made to Suffer, and some of the deaths and stuff like that really evoke emotion from me as a comic book reader. But as far as the character development, as far as love interests and relationships and that kind of stuff, it's pretty difficult to show that as well in a comic as it is to show it on in a TV series, 1080p, high def, all that kind of stuff, Blu-ray or whatever, and you get the sound, you get the score, you get the music to set the mood. All this stuff you don't get in the comics. You're just getting the page and the words, right? And the art from Charlie Adler, who does an amazing job, and they do the best they can. But for me, kind of getting to see Michonne and Rick finally get together in the TV series was a pretty special scene, and I really liked it a lot. And I liked the episode that we got with the two of them kind of, spending time on a sort of, zombie apocalypse, I don't want to say honeymoon, but getting to like the two of them to being together and spending time together and, that kind of thing and being happy together. It was really nice to see and being a team together. And also because Michonne is so tough. In the comic book series version, Andrea is really tough too. She's a great sniper and that kind of deal. But Michonne is always, like from day one, she was like super badass with the sword and everything. So it's cool to see her and Rick together. And I like the Clear, the stuff with Clear before that they go off together. He doesn't trust her. And I just really like everything that they've done with Rick and Michonne. There's After, where she comes and she, Carl with the chocolate pudding and that, and then, Rick and her they get back together and there's this great reunion between them. Getting to see them together in a relationship now, it just feels so natural because it feels like it's been years and they've kind of grown together, and we've got to see that kind of growth until it just kind of happens, which is natural for relationships, usually at a point, people are close and then, things just kind of, it's natural. It just grows like one step to another, like, evolution or just the coming together from both of them. So I like that one better. The Rick and Andrea in the comics was amazing too as well, but I'll go with Rick and Michonne in the TV series right now as being my favorite, which I didn't think going in it would be, but even at this point already I like it better. So there's a lot of things that the TV series does I think that are even done better than in the comics, just based on the medium alone, if nothing else. But also the writing and everything has been great too, and the amount of episodes we get, the time we spend with them, a lot more. The comics is like almost like a storyboard version, and it's different and it's more condensed. But I really like the TV series sometimes where they really get into those feelings and emotions and spend some time with those characters. Even though slower episodes, people a lot of times complain about them. Not having that in the comics kind of leaves something out, and I really like the idea. 16 episodes a season. Could they cut out a lot of those character dynamic, character growth episodes down a lot and cut out some things? Yeah, they could, and shrink it down to 10 episodes or something. Yeah, they could, but I'm glad they don't, because I like to see that stuff too, such as the episode with Rick and Michonne this year. It was really great. So that'll be it for today's video, guys. Of course, we'll see you again back tomorrow. Keep sending me your questions. We'll do a couple more before Sunday night's episode 15. Really feeling it again. Really excited for Walking Dead again. Really happy with this turnaround after episodes 13 and 14. If you like this video, please don't forget to thumb it up below. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thanks for all the support. New people, if you want to subscribe, bottom left. I appreciate all of you guys and all your support. That's it for this video today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.